Well, I mean, I always like to start off and say, it is true. If we increase demand, but do not increase supply, things get more expensive. That is 100%, that's true. So it is extremely important that we focus as an industry on making supply, helping increase supply, whatever can happen there. At the same time, I'm not going to sit around and wait for that to get to some sort of magical threshold before we look at who is able to access homeownership today. Because the reality is, if we don't do anything here, the ban of people who have enough capital to be able to purchase a home or leverage homeownership to build wealth gets narrower and narrower and narrower. And in our country, it gets wider and wider and wider. Nothing wrong with white people. I love white people. I like everyone else. But our black and brown folks in our country have not been able to have intergenerational wealth. That is oftentimes the way that people get into a home in the first place. There needs to be a solution that helps democratize that. So while it is really important that we increase supply, because if you increase demand and not supply, you have a bigger problem, you also need to think about who has access to that, and having options and pathways for a more diverse set of people to do that is super important.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I founded Divvy about 4.5 years ago, and when I would go out and do venture capital fundraising rounds, every investor used to look at me and say, Adena, what happens when home prices drop and your assets aren't worth as much as you purchased them for? Not one investor said to me, what happens when there's no supply and home prices start rising at 20% year over year? So that was it's the unknown unknowns that kind of get you, I think, in founding a company. Divvy definitely serves the demand side, and we give our customers a competitive advantage when bidding on properties because they fundamentally bid with the best terms possible. However, I agree fully with Alex that the issue is mostly supply driven, right? On the demand side, interest rates rising, plus home prices given how much they've risen, plus PMI for most folks who don't have the full down payment, is already going to start to stifle demand or the ability to at least purchase at what today is the average home price, which has risen pretty dramatically over the last couple of years. The issue is on the supply side, and what we saw was the global financial crisis happened. There was a ton of existing inventory that was put up for sale. If you talk to any home builder, they said it was like the worst 10 years of being a home builder, because why would you build a home when you couldn't build it for cost less than $200,000 and you can buy an existing home for $150,000? And then all of a sudden, the market changed pretty drastically, and we're saying, hey, home builders, why didn't you build enough homes? And they're like, well, the last 10 years, you didn't need any homes because you had existing inventory. And now they're starting to build, but it doesn't happen overnight. This is going to take years. And so if you actually look at home builder reports, supply is being built. I don't think we're probably going to feel the impact of that for at least another 12 months till the market starts to actually maybe cool off slightly from that new inventory coming online.